In the fall of 2024, satellite images that have since gone viral revealed something unprecedented at the North Korean Nampo Shipyard, a large concealed vessel under construction, hidden within towering mesh walls and cranes. For months, fragments of the hull and superstructure appeared only in fleeting glimpses, hinting at the scale of a project unlike anything North Korea has attempted before. As construction continues, the world watches closely, sensing that this vision might be closer than anyone imagined. Could this mysterious, partially concealed vessel be the beginning of the nation's biggest ship yet, built to fast-track North Korea's naval ambitions? The North Korean Navy. Since its inception in the aftermath of the Korean War, the North Korean Navy was formed with Soviet-era ships and older Chinese models. North Korea has historically shown little interest, experience, or even value in projecting naval power beyond its borders. Reluctant to venture far, the regime only safeguards the country's waters and deters close-range threats, typically duplicating shipbuilding projects on each coast. Over the years, as the rest of the world's navies advanced beyond belief, North Korea's remained largely stagnant. Currently, though substantial in numbers, it remains limited in capability. The fleet mostly consists of smaller patrol and coastal vessels, with a duo of Najin-class frigates serving as the primary surface combatants. Developed in the late 1970s, these 328-foot ships are armed with anti-aircraft guns, anti-ship missiles, and torpedoes, but their outdated systems make them less effective by today's standards. Efforts to modernize the fleet have been slow. While the recent Amnak and Nampo-class corvettes, launched in limited numbers in the 2010s and smaller at only 230 feet, hint at an attempt to update North Korea's naval strength. With only 2 of each class deployed, split between the East and West, they provide quite a modest and limited boost. But now, Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un is intent on changing that. For the last couple of years, the leader has placed a powerful emphasis on furthering the country's shipbuilding industry, making it clear that his navy needs a bold expansion, one designed not only to protect North Korean shores, but to cast a much longer shadow across the heavily contested region. For this, Kim has increased his visits to naval bases and shipyards, announcing a vision of a more capable, threatening fleet. During a September 2024 visit to a new naval base under construction, Kim stated that the Navy was about to be elevated to an unprecedented strength. One specific shipyard might be the cornerstone behind this potentially revolutionary change. The Nampo Shipyard. Nampo, North Korea's main port on the Yellow Sea, has been a cornerstone of the nation's industry and maritime operation since the 1970s. Originally modeled after major Chinese ports, the shipyard mirrors some of the Red Nation's strategic advantages, serving commercial and military purposes. Over the years, Nampo has grown into a fully realized and versatile hub, handling everything from petroleum imports to the construction and repair of fishing boats, merchant ships, and even the small warships that protect the nation. This dual-purpose setup is more than just practical. It's a well-calculated strategy. By embedding top-secret military projects within civilian infrastructure, North Korea can hide the nation's sensitive developments in plain sight under the guise of routine port activity. As a powerful example of this strategy, Nampo recently hosted 2 significant naval projects, the construction of one of the Amnak-class corvettes, and more notably, North Korea's second submarine-launched ballistic missile test platform, which has already seen action in intense weapons demonstrations that have escalated tensions with rival nations. In February 2024, Leader Kim Jong-un visited Nampo Shipyard to inspect these projects firsthand, reaffirming his mission. While the types of warships are under construction at Nampo, they are part of a 5-year military plan where the leader laid out an ambitious wish list of high-tech military assets, from nuclear-powered submarines to underwater-launched nuclear missiles. During his inspection, the Supreme Leader was briefed by top naval men on the progress of the latest naval projects and the remaining technical hurdles, and he urged workers to unconditionally finish the job. That same spring, under cover of routine activity, the shipyard became the heart of a clandestine operation that piqued the curiosity of analysts worldwide. North Korea's mystery slipway. In May 2024, satellite imagery captured a row of towering pillars on both sides of a slipway at Nampo Shipyard along North Korea's west coast. Over the following months, these pillars were joined by screen walls and a mesh-netted rooftop, covering an impressive 100 by 560-foot area. And while the breathable mesh roof does little to guard against the elements, this means that its true purpose is something far more calculated, shielding whatever lies beneath from prying eyes and the watchful gaze of Western satellites. This screening installation coincided with sections of what appears to be a large warship coming together on the slipway. Nearby, unmistakable hull and superstructure segments, all painted with red oxide primer, hinted at something large taking shape. Even with the mesh roof in place, satellite images continue to offer glimpses into the vessel below, especially when sections of the roof are temporarily removed, likely to allow cranes access to the construction. But it wasn't until October that these images spread through the internet like wildfire, igniting a single dominating question. What is North Korea concealing? What could it be? With the appearance of this object, the North Korean Juche regime will be able to build an extraordinarily powerful ship by its standards, but there is still no understanding of what kind of ship it might be. Analysts propose two primary possibilities. The first is a more powerful surface ship for its navy, potentially a missile frigate, reflecting North Korea's ambition to enhance its naval capabilities. For comparison, the Amnak corvettes are believed to have a displacement of 1,500 tons and a hull length of 262 feet. With that in mind, an entire 560-foot-long slipway suggests plans for a much larger vessel. The second hypothesis is that North Korea is using the Nampo facilities to build a new ballistic missile carrier submarine, capable of launching the ballistic missiles previously tested earlier in the year, aligning with North Korea's ongoing efforts to advance its submarine-launched ballistic missile program. The Russia problem. Beyond the prestige and propaganda, what Pyongyang stands to gain from building larger warships is uncertain. While Nampo Shipyard has enough facilities and resources to construct a larger hull that resembles a modern warship, replicating advanced combat systems like the ones in the West remains an elusive challenge for North Korea. Experts suggest that Kim Jong-un's dream of nuclear-powered submarines may be out of reach without considerable foreign support, requiring extensive resources, time, and technological breakthroughs. Now, reports suggest that Moscow has provided North Korea with advanced missile launch systems, critical support that could bridge key technological gaps for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Although Pyongyang appears focused on addressing some of these shortcomings domestically, Kim's September 2023 trip to Russia, which included a close-up tour of a naval base and warships, hints at a deeper cooperation that may bring North Korea's naval ambitions closer to reality. In exchange for Moscow's support, North Korea is reportedly sending troops to assist Russian forces in Ukraine, a high-stakes deal that offers mutual benefits for two of the world's most isolated nations. By supplying some of their own soldiers to the front lines, Pyongyang bolsters Russia's manpower on the war front while gaining access to crucial military technologies that could fast-track its naval and missile ambitions, sending Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un closer and closer to realizing his goal. Timeline. The latest satellite photographs in Nampo do indicate the mysterious ship or platform is past the initial stages of construction, as the use of a slipway typically means the hull has been formed enough to need support, and that major structural elements like the keel and hull sections are in place. While it's a sign of significant progress, this is not a guarantee that the ship is nearing completion. After assembly on the slipway, a vessel often needs extensive outfitting, such as installing engines, weaponry, electronic systems, and other complex machinery. Additionally, it undergoes tests and inspections, which can take considerable time, especially for large military vessels or new designs. So while the project is likely beyond the foundational stages, it could still be far from operational readiness. Though the purpose of such a large and exposed launcher remains uncertain, it aligns with North Korea's pattern of using unconventional missile sites, complicating efforts to counter its threats. This tactic makes it harder for South Korea's defenses, which aim to detect and disable their northern neighbors' weapons before they can be launched. As activity at Nampo Shipyard draws international attention, analysts are now watching to see if similar developments appear along North Korea's eastern shores. While most experts doubt Kim Jong-un's aims for full-scale war, some suggest he may be setting the stage for a controlled provocation short of outright conflict. A likely flashpoint is the disputed western sea boundary, a site of past skirmishes, potential future clashes, and Nampo's location. As Kim Il-nae, spokesperson for South Korea's Unification Ministry, notes, quote, "By making military threats routine, North Korea is trying to create a sense of insecurity among South Korean people, to undermine trust in their government, and to attract international attention, to build an atmosphere in which its demands must be accepted, to resolve the crisis on the Korean peninsula."